Good morning and welcome to our weekly briefing. I'm Kevin Harrison, Community Engagement Coordinator for the Division of Diversity and Community Engagement. These weekly briefings are held in an effort to keep the campus and public better informed of the changes occurring at Wichita State. Following a university update and today's featured topic, there will be time for questions. To start today's briefing, WSU Tech was recently recognized for its beneficial embedded training support partnership with Spirit Aerosystems in the areas of new hire onboarding, certification training, and recertification for skilled workers in production. WSU Tech has a long-standing relationship with business and industry to support skilled training needs by offering a customized approach that yields notable impact to their bottom lines. In a recent client survey, Spirit reported the following stats in favor of their partnership and services provided through WSU Tech, including $19.8 million in opportunities for increased sales, $13.2 million in retained revenue, 2,305 jobs retained as a result of training skilled workers and upskilling workforce, $87,300 in cost savings that would have otherwise been spent, and a net promoter score of 10 out of 10, meaning Spirit is very likely to continue to work to continue this project with WSU Tech. We applaud WSU Tech's efforts to make a positive impact on our workforce and economy. With applied learning and research at the center of everything we do, shockers in every academic program have unmatched opportunities to gain the valuable real-world experience needed to achieve their career goals. Recent numbers from the Career Development Center illustrate the positive impact the university's commitment to applied learning has on our students. In 2017-18, more than 1,100 Wichita State University students earned $4.9 million in co-op internship wages and gained more than 370,000 hours in professional experience, all while working with nearly 500 different employers. NIAR programs for Airbus, Spirit Aerosystems, and other aviation and manufacturing organizations around the world have led to a 30% increase, 240 total, in student employment at NIAR and in the Applied Learning Program. NIAR is hiring 60 more students per year than in 2016. The presence and demonstrated commitments of WSU collaboration with industry and DoD has provided millions of dollars in new funding for advanced research programs. These partnerships are the reason Wichita State ranks first in the nation in industry finance aeronautical research and development. To put it simply, no other university in the country employs more students in aerospace R&D, and we need more student employees. NIAR is hiring. The WSU Office of Undergraduate Admissions will now play a larger role of linking newly admitted students to our brand of applied learning, where every student has an experience leading to employment upon graduation. 2 offices will be integrated in this approach, admissions and career development. By creating this link, we make our promise of an applied learning experience for every student more explicit at the moment of being admitted. As the university continues working towards fulfilling its vision and mission, we want to thank all of the faculty, staff, students, and community members who have helped steer the university towards success by volunteering on WSU's strategic planning activation teams. These teams form the foundation of the strategic planning process by reviewing the university's strategic plans and ongoing goals to help it better fulfill its mission to be an essential educational, cultural, and economic driver for Kansas and the greater public good. The teams have engaged more than 160 individuals from campus and the broader Wichita community. On average, 55 persons have attended each of the activation team's Tuesday sessions. Each team, led by a chair and co-chair, works through a playbook provided by the steering committee, which leads the team thought-guided conversations around critical issues facing the university and higher education. Additionally, the playbook outlines a SWOT analysis format that each team goes through together over the semester. With the spring semester nearly finished, we're inviting everyone to a strategic planning town hall at 3 p.m. on May 2nd in the RSC Beggs Ballroom, where the activation team leaders will share the results of their meetings and make recommendations. We hope that everyone enjoyed all of the fun campus events at last Saturday's Family Fun Day. There are 2 more can't-miss events we want you to know about. The Multicultural Greek Council will host its annual Shock the Yard Step Show at 7 p.m. this Saturday in Charles Koch Arena. Now in its 10th year, the show has grown to become one of the most creative, entertaining, and competitive events on campus, and a reflection of the rich diversity found in Wichita State University's student body and campus culture. Shock the Yard was started by some of the university's historically Black fraternities and sororities. It features performers from a wide variety of campus organizations, in addition to drawing participants from across the region. Teams compete in a group dance routine where performers' bodies are used as instruments to produce complex rhythms and sounds through a mixture of footsteps, spoken word, and hand claps. We encourage the community to come out and attend this high-energy event. Tickets are available for just $10 through GoShockers.com. They can also be purchased for $15 at the door. Also this Saturday is the Kansas Optimist Club's Oratorical Scholarship Competition at 1 p.m. in Linquist Hall, room 100. The competition gives younger students the opportunity to gain experience in public speaking while competing for multiple college scholarships. Winners advance to the World Championship with the chance to compete for a scholarship worth more than $22,000. The topic for this year's event is there a fine line between optimism and reality? We're honored to support this competition and other events and initiatives that inspire and enable excellence in our community's youth. We wish the competitors the best of luck, and we hope to see you all there. On Wednesday, we were happy to have welcomed the first of 3 graduate school dean finalists to campus. Dr. Colleen Pugh is a professor in the Department of Polymer Science at the University of Akron. 2 more candidates are scheduled to visit campus on April 29th and 30th and May 6th and 7th. The second candidate's public forum will be held at 3:30 p.m. April 29th in the RSC, room 319. The thirds will be at 3:30 p.m. on May 6th in Clinton Hall, room 204. We look forward to having them on campus, and we'll release more information when it becomes available. And now I'd like to introduce our featured speaker, Nancy Kirsenbrock, Assistant Director for the Center for Entrepreneurship, to talk about the Shocker New Venture Competition and how it inspires campus innovation and develops the entrepreneurial mindsets of our students.
Thank you. I want to share a little bit about what's going on at the Center for Entrepreneurship and what we are offering through applied learning. So in keeping with the vision and the mission of the university, the center provides many opportunities, one of which is coming up, and actually we're in the midst of, called the Shocker New Venture Competition. The Shocker New Venture Competition also actually kicked off on March 25th. It takes place over a 6 to 8 week period of time. During the competition, it actually begins with an application that is submitted by students for new ventures that they are going to enter into the competition. This applied learning opportunity here at the university is interdisciplinary. We have an example of that in Dr. Chris Broberg, who is an assistant professor in the entrepreneurship program. He, along with Dr. Gary Brooking, a teaching professor and department chair of the engineering technology program, and Dr. Kim Clough, an associate professor from the biomedical engineering department, they combine their capstone classes together, and together they create teams that are interdisciplinary. Those teams actually begin by going out into industry, into businesses, and searching for problems that exist within that industry. And then as a team, they come up with solutions for those problems, and then they move forward through their capstone classes in developing those solutions, whether they be through prototypes or different ways to approach processes or whatever it might be. They combine then with entrepreneurship students who have that background or training in business, and they work together as a team to move their ventures through the competition. They are not the only ones that enter the competition. It's open to any students across the state of Kansas. There are many that enter the competition that are not a part of an actual class, but they are people who are very serious, students, I should say, that are very serious about moving their ventures forward into actual startups. So the process began with an application that was submitted and included a 3-minute video. The video's focus was on the concepts surrounding a business model to make sure that students had the right ideas in place and understood well what their problem was, defined what the solution was, is there a target market for that, how are they going to make money, what's their revenue model. So those were the things that were included, the items that were included in the videos. Those videos were then judged internally here at Wichita State University by our brilliant professors and faculty. They used a rubric that hit the target areas that the videos were to focus on, scoring the different ideas, the different teams based on those different areas. The results of that then were brought together to determine which teams, which ideas were to move on to the next round of the competition. The next round, which we continue to use to screen, is the 10-page business plan that was submitted on Monday, April 2nd. So they didn't have a lot of time to put those business plans together. So they worked tirelessly, submitted those, and then the judging began. We recruit judges at this point from the business community, and we are very, very fortunate to have a community of business leaders, executives, serial entrepreneurs, venture capitalists that come together and provide their time to actually judge the competition from here on out. So with their expertise, they have a week to actually complete the judging. And again, using a very specific list of items or areas that they are to actually score the students in. As you can see on this scoring template at the bottom, there are some open-ended questions, and at this point, the judges start providing tremendous amounts of feedback. And when I say tremendous, I mean tremendous. Each of the teams at this point who enter, or who are this part of the competition that enter in those 10-page business plans, they will have 8, 9 judges that will actually judge their business plan and provide narrative feedback for them. The students then use that feedback to prepare for the next round of the actual competition. The students were informed a little over a week ago if they made it through to the next round, and at that point, we move on to our trade show. 16 teams have successfully moved into this round of the competition. The trade show actually takes place tomorrow. The students will set up exhibits, booths, over at Coke Arena in the concourse. And again, the business community with our expert executives and successful entrepreneurs, investors will all come to judge tomorrow. We expect judges, probably between 130 to 160 judges to actually participate tomorrow. And some of those are also going to include our students, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. At the trade show, the students actually start by setting up their exhibits or their booths. They spend a great deal of time and energy preparing these, but this is only a small piece of it. They have to be able to pitch to every judge that comes to their actual exhibit. So there's a tremendous amount of work that goes into this for them. You can see these are examples of past participants within the trade show. So we actually, as I said, do it in the concourse where the judges just pretty much go from one booth to the next. They have judging criteria that they use also in this round of the competition. As they go through, or as they finish, they actually proceed then to what we call our investment hub. The investment hub is where the judges are taking 10,000 Shocker dollars and investing them. So they determine, based on their movement from exhibit to exhibit, what ventures or what venture they feel has the probability to actually launch into a startup. So they have the option of investing all of their Shocker dollars into one business, and they also have the option of investing all their Shocker dollars into multiple new ventures. So they basically just take their Shocker dollars and stick them in a box. In addition to the business community generously giving of their time, we also have the People's Choice Award, which is selected by Wichita State University students. The students come out in full force, and they also go around to each one of the exhibits based on criteria they have been given for the judging. They too will determine who moves on to the next round by being a part of that. The People's Choice Award is the selection just by the students of who they select to be the venture most likely to launch. Once the trade show is over, 6 of these teams are notified that they have successfully made it to the finals of the Shocker New Venture competition. Oh, and before I move on to the finals, I do want to let everyone know that this is open to the public, so we invite everyone to come to the trade show and show your support of our future entrepreneurs here in Wichita. So at that final round, the students come in, or the teams come in, the 6 of them, and they will actually pitch to a select group of judges. Those judges are made up, again, of highly successful people here in our community. They are also made up of our sponsors that generously donate their money and their time and their expertise to provide this competition. We could not do it without them. So the students come in and they make a 6 to 8 minute pitch, followed by the judges, who then will do a Q&A with them, basically grill them. And they have to be highly prepared to answer all questions related to running a business. So when that is completed, then the judges come together at the Center for Entrepreneurship's boardroom, where they basically discuss each one of those ventures and the viability that they feel is with each of those to actually move their venture forward. That is followed by a award ceremony and a reception, at which time we then announce the different awards: first, second, third, fourth place, the People's Choice Award, and we also have an award from the Riverside Health Foundation of $2,500 for the top medical venture. So with that said, you can see some of our winners of the past. That is also open to the public. The pitches themselves, people can come and actually observe for those, and then we invite everyone to come to the reception and the awards ceremony. So that tells you a little bit about the Shocker New Venture competition. Again, the trade show is tomorrow. This is a list of the teams that have made it forward that will be presenting their exhibits tomorrow. Again, 3 to 6 p.m. It's open to the public, and it's at the Charles Koch Arena. We would love to see all of you there. So with that said, are there any questions? All right, thank you very much, and I hope to see you all tomorrow.
Thank you again, Ms. Kirstenbrock, for coming out and sharing with us this morning. At this time, I'll take any questions you may have. For any that I'm unable to answer, we'll have you follow up with Joe Kleinsasser following the briefing, and he'll be getting back with you on that. No questions? All right. Well, in closing, I'd like to share some brief history from 1905 that parallels the vision and mission of Wichita State still today. On October 6, 1905, Fairmount College defeated Cooper College, now Sterling College, 24-0 in the first ever nighttime football game played west of the Mississippi. This game was made possible due to the desire of the local Wichita company, the Coleman Company, to demonstrate its gas lamps. So the vision to be internationally recognized as the model for applied learning and research was seen in action 114 years ago, long before an innovation campus or this written vision ever existed. Our mission is to be an essential educational, cultural, and economic driver for Kansas and the greater public good, and I think it's self-explanatory why that's relevant as well. Applied learning and driving the greater public good are part of our DNA, and it always has been. It's who we are, it's who we've always been, and it's what we do. This is Kevin Harrison signing off.